But looking at Snap with the gap up after earnings and the continued growth throughout the week, that peak being at almost seven, or I think it hit $17. Uh, their strong support is right here at 15.83. I'm thinking over the course of the day tomorrow, they have potential to gap down. However, just based on what they've been doing since earnings, I would say that they have a good chance of maintaining this consolidation that they're currently in, because they're just bouncing off of support and resistance and staying within 2 or 3 of those on every spot. Again, looking at the day, this is honestly just a lot of consolidation, little runs, lots of drops, little runs, lots of drops. So after hours, they've dropped to about right there. I still think that they're not going to have that much of a drop off over the next few days. Maybe tomorrow. Honestly, maybe tomorrow they might have a small one because it is Friday. They might have a gap down into the 15.5 range at the beginning. If that is the case, I could see a small buy-in from people who think it's going to be the next Facebook or whatever, and see it come up here into the 1650 range. If people buy in here, if people panic here, we'll be seeing a sell probably down almost $1 into this 1460 to 1465 range. That's well below the support, but because of the current market conditions, I would say that they are looking at, if people panic sell on a Friday, we'll be looking at the Friday sell off plus panic sell, and with a company that seems to be overvalued based on earnings purely. However, I think Snap is a decent longer hold. I think that they have potential to keep running later on in the year. However, if you're looking to day trade them, buying in on a dip isn't a bad idea, but it's not one that I am going to buy a position in as far as a call or a put. All right, so we had AMD today. That was a roller coaster. They had some very, very low lows, or not very, very low lows, but very low compared to where they were at to start the day. I have a position in them of 150 shares from when they were $40.22. So I'm still sitting at a pretty penny right now. However, this looks like a very bad downtrend. And this comes after the announcement that Apple is going to be producing their own processors, which I think is coincidental at best. However, it is possible that that played a factor in the drop-off. I would say that they have potential to reach that 58 again, especially since they are only sitting at 55.86. I think if they gap down in the morning, sort of like what they did, if it'll stop zooming. Actually, let me see. Wow, that's 51. Jeez, that is not a good one. They had a good run after that. Yeah, if you would have bought yesterday when I called out for them in the morning, you're looking at a $52 buy-in. If you would have sold just in the morning, you'd be looking at a $4 or over $3 profit. And if you're still holding, you're still looking at an over $3 profit. I think AMD is a good long hold. A lot of people are saying they're overvalued. However, with the tech that they are bringing out, not a lot of people are going to be matching their processing power anytime soon. I would put them in the top tier for a long hold above Intel, especially with Intel bombing off of their earnings. Yesterday, I actually looked at what they were downtrending, and I decided to take a position 5 minutes before market close and got a $56 put, and they're currently sitting at, I believe, $55. So that was a really, really cheap one because I paid $46 for it, and I expect it to be almost $200 tomorrow, probably. Okay, next one. A lot of people are talking about GHSI, Guardian Health Sciences. I think that they have had some really good runs over the last couple of days. However, I don't think it was a sustainable run. I think that they were overvalued here. And watching this downtrend now, I would say that they have a gap down coming, most likely. In the morning, I would say that we're probably looking at this 39 to 38 range in here. Definitely don't think they break this 38 support right now, because if you look at their 1 month, they've stayed above that 38 for the entire month.
That's what I was looking at, is the 38 support, why I held off on buying them until tomorrow morning or next week to see if it would bounce off the 38 again and continue the run up to about 48 like it has been in the past, or if it was
Yeah,
something that couldn't hold.
now they definitely seem to be it seems to be like a 2-day pattern, right? They'll peak, then they'll drop right at the end of that day where it peaks. So we see the same pattern here, right? So from the 13th, it peaks partway through 14, and by the 15th, it bottoms out again. So I'm thinking that because it's on the bottom out, we'll see a little bit of a uptrend tomorrow. Not before it drops a touch in the morning. I think pre-market's not going to be kind to them. But I've been wrong in the past, especially with penny stocks. They're really hard to analyze with these retracements because we're talking fractions of a penny here on most of them. But I would say that they definitely don't break this 38 cent. Let me see. Have they broken it? Yeah, they broke it. Last time they were down that low was in March and in February. They do not have the most healthy numbers as far as a stock goes. They definitely don't look to be in a good position for a long-term hold. If you're trying to day trade or swing trade it, if you got in yesterday at this price, not too bad. You can probably look to sell Monday or even later in the day tomorrow. I would expect them to hit very similar peak to what they did here by Monday, possibly Tuesday, depending, since the weekend has a different effect on the stock. Actually, let's go back to the 1 month. We can look and see what they did. 8th to the 13th. They peaked on the 9th. Nope. Peaked on the 8th. Dropped off on the 9th for a sell-off. And picked up from the 13th and skyrocketed on the 14th. That's a very large mandingo there. And continued to drop. Yeah, I would say that they're probably looking at a very similar pattern here to this slope. I would say that we're probably looking, since this is what day is that, April 1st. Yeah, tomorrow I think we're going to be here. And then Monday's going to look something like this, and then have an upswing over the course of the week. I definitely think they have potential to get back up to this 50 number, but I do think it's going to take a couple of days. So I would be watching closely in pre-market, see if they're going to dip down by that 0.38 number, and then watch throughout the day to see if they spike back up. I do not believe that they'll break the support. I think that they will consolidate here before they would break the support. But if they end up consolidating in between this 0.4 and 0.38, I'll be looking for them to make a run on Monday or Tuesday. Again, Yep.
Before I forget, just when we get to the end of this, I meant to tell you, sent you a message earlier, but DMRC, I wanted to look at that and confirm if there was a cup and handle later at the end of the meeting, I guess.
Yeah, when we get towards the end, I will 100% take a look at that. We only have XSPA before we get to that one, so those are the ones that had the most votes throughout the one, but we can definitely look at that one next. All right, XSPA. I probably have the biggest equity stake out of anybody I know in XSPA, and it's because I believe that they have a stranglehold on the potential market for this rapid testing, right? So my original buy-in back on, actually it was way farther back than that. My original buy-in was back in March, 13 cents, sold on this peak, 41 cents. That's a big profit. I only had 50 shares though, because I thought 19 cents, that's not very good. My better one was over on the 9th, held it over the weekend, sold here, rebought, rode it up and rode it down, buy on the dips, sell on the peaks. For the most part, missed out on this peak, ended up selling there from that, but I mean, that's still a decent profit. So right now, I bought 5,000 shares, 5,200 shares. For a net price of about 46 cents. And where they're sitting is only at 47 cents. So I'm up, but not really up. And I don't know what they did in aftermarket. Let's check real quick.
It barely went up.
48 cents, 49 cents. We're at 49 cents. Not too bad. Definitely a drop off from previous day's close. However, I think that they have potential to be very, very worthwhile as a stock for a longer hold. I'd be looking at them again, like I've been saying for 2 weeks now. I think they're a $2 stock if and when they get approval to be in the airports, sort of like TSA. So right now they're actually sitting up here, right? As one. So I would say that because we're sitting up here, we're looking at a run up in the morning, up into this 50 range. If they break this top support here, I'd probably say that they'll run up to almost 60 cents. Just because, sorry, only if the volume's there though, because XSPA's volume, average volume is 4.6 million over the, right now. Volume today was only 34.39 million, which would account for a little bit of the loss they had today. This dip, I would say, had very low volume, and as volume increased throughout the day, we see the higher peaks. But I mean, honestly, with XSPA, I'm just holding for long. It's one I'm gonna sit on at 46 cents. I probably won't sell again until it hits 60, and then rebuy when it drops, if it drops. But 1.2 is my goal for them. John, what was that other one?
It was DMRC, Digimarc Corporation. DM, M as in Mike.
Oh, got you. DMRC, my bad. Digimarc Corp. Let's see. What is their current price? Do you know?
In the 15s, like 50. There we go. It's like 15. What's that?
15.79. That's what that says there. All right. So looking at their 5-day, are you seeing this as a cup and handle?
Yeah. Well, a little bit before that, and it looks like it's about. I can't tell if they're breaking out of one of the past. You can look at it.
You're talking this one here.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on the last 2 days. If it's going to break and go up the handle, or if it's going to, like, usually I'll also look at the monthly charts, and you can kind of see something else too.
Yeah. I was just checking through here. Okay. I really cannot remember how to get this off. I really just want. Yeah, no, that's not it. All right. Anyways, I gotta Google how to take this off because can't barely see with them all clumped up like that. Actually, you know what? I could just remove it like that, right? No?
Maybe if you zoom in, it'll move. I don't know.
Settings. Here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna disable all these, and it should just have it popped off right now, and then I'll
There you go.
All right. Okay, so I assume that this is the cup and handle that you were looking at here.
The problem is, and I was also looking at all the way back to back in the 28th, I think, of March.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was trying to form that more shallow, wider bowl there. And then around the 14th, it started to come down for the handle. And then it started to go back up. And then it kind of changed its mind around the 21st, the 20th, and dropped back down like it was another V-shaped, very deep, short bowl, which isn't necessarily a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is that other cup and handle you were talking about right here, right? You have a small one there. It's not a very good one, honestly. This is more of a W than anything.
I'm looking at like a 2-week bowl for that cup.
Got you. I mean, here, let's even go back farther. See if we can see.
I mean, honestly, this could be the overall picture of the actual cup that's forming right now. It's about to go up and then form the handle. And we're,
Yeah, I mean, like if
month out.
If and when they go back
Yeah.
up to 34, I agree. It'll probably end up looking like a cup and handle if we look at their 1 year. Right. We'll probably see it come back up sort of like that, drop down, and then either spike or drop back off. I doubt they're going to get back in the 60s anytime soon. We're probably looking at like a 6-month recovery for them to even get back into that 60 range, honestly. I don't know their financials though, so don't quote me on that because honestly, I could be way off. I would say looking at this, let's go back to the 5-day. Let me turn on this. What the heck? Thought I removed that. Let me turn back on my. What the heck? Oh, okay, so we got 10 minutes left on this, so give me 1 second. Let me fix this, bring them all back. All right, so they created this support, looks like yesterday. No, that would be, what's the date, man? It's the 24th, so Monday. Created the support, haven't broke it, tested it once, spiked. This here almost seems like some consolidation. I mean, honestly, this is an extremely volatile up and down, especially throughout here. So I would say that they have potential for a gap down, especially looking at this. And because they consolidated off of this small bowl, I would say that this more has a potential for a downtrend than it does for an uptrend. However, I mean, in my opinion, this is a pretty distinct cup and handle off of an uptrend, correct?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I just
off
really
of an
trust
uptrend.
cup and handles that are only based off of 5-day. Like, it's not very reliable.
No, it's definitely not. And because we see this consolidation here, I would say that it was not a true cup and handle.
Right.
Usually either see a jump or a decent dip, and we got neither of those. So I would say that this is more than likely we'll see a very similar. You know what? Actually, let's go back to this monthly and see if we can see a similar pattern. Actually, it probably looks something like this, honestly. If we move this over to this, right? We see that same sort of consolidation here as we do here. And then they did an uptrend. So if we're basing those off of each other, which they're close, they're not quite exact, they're close. There could be a potential for a small gain. But again, if you're buying into a stock like this is probably a long hold, expecting them to
Right.
return up to that 35 or even, eventually that 60 mark if they ever get
That
back up
large
there.
cup that's forming is what I'm really looking at.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, we might be looking at the bottom of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that 3 month, where the bottom was probably the deepest portion is probably going to end up being that $10. So buying to ride it back up, that's a decent one to do it with.
So before it gets to that resistance where it's going to have that handle form.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see that handle form in this range, not necessarily back up here, but
Right.
more in this 20 to 25 range. It's hard to say right now since it's only at 15, but I would say that, yeah, it's probably about $25 if it's going to actually form that is going to look like that into here. Then we'll see a small handle in this range, possibly up here, but yeah. So, I mean, 15.79 isn't a bad one to buy in at. But again, use caution. I'm going to pop that one off. Lead page. All right. I got time for one more stock.
Can you look into
Alright.
TRNX?
TRNX.
Uh-huh.
Not a problem. Let's do that one. They've had a lot of movement over the last couple trading days. And they are on a very, very, very blatant downtrend at the moment. Very much a downtrend, and that's even a cup and handle there, and they couldn't spike off of it. But again, that's only a 5-day cup and handle. But you can still see it on the 1 month. It's very, very skinny. I mean, based on this chart, man, that's not something I'm buying into anytime soon. I don't know their financial backing. I don't know 100% what they do. But just based on this chart, they're in a spike back down. It looks like they'll probably end up hitting this resistance. Sorry, not resistance. It'll be their support, but their current resistance there. But it'll be a support for them. They'll probably dip down into this range right here as a form of support. But I would not be buying into this based on this current pattern. I mean, that's about as bad as it gets as for a downtrend. Even on the recoveries, they immediately start downtrending again. And it's been consistent since, since last week. Yeah. That's not what I'd get in, personally.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Do you have a position in with them right now?
No, I was swinging this stock. I was buying it at 0.22.
Oh,
I think,
okay.
yeah, just swinging for 10 cents. So,
Got you. Yeah, that's not one that I would, unless you see potential for them to have a quick spike up for like a 3 or 4 cent increase. But for you to take advantage of it, you would need a position of like at least 1,000 shares to make it even worth your while. But
yep.
there's no guarantee it's going to come back up though, especially based
Yeah.
on that.
Usually, during afternoons, stock is going down, and during the daytime, almost closing, it's a little bit spiking. So I was catching that.
Oh, so you buy the dips and then sell on the peaks
Yeah.
on the way
Yeah.
down. Got you. Yeah, it's definitely tanking. So you could definitely buy on a drop tomorrow because it looks like they probably will have one. Yeah, I don't see them having a very good day or rest of the week. We'll see what they do next week. I'll do a little reading on their financials. But balance sheet. Their balance sheet isn't that bad actually. I wonder why they're so low. That would be why. Income statement's awful. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming to my little analysis, and I will be doing another one of these on Sunday night. So I will see you guys then. You guys have a great rest of your night, man.
All right. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.